Hey, what's up guys? It's Mike with Innovation REI, and we are back with the next portion of our series about making an offer. We're going to be talking about quiet costs, carrying cost, depends what you want to call it. I wanted to sit down and make sure I took plenty of time to discuss this with you guys. This is, the cost that most new investors, they're probably going to be the least prepared for. Quiet costs, carrying costs, these are things that you might not necessarily be swiping a credit card for. They can be a huge portion of the cost of selling a home, and you need to be aware of it. You need to know what those numbers are for your market. So when I'm talking about a quiet cost, carrying cost, I'm talking about things like when you sell the house, if you're having to list with a realtor and pay realtor fees. Talking about your closing costs, your attorney fees, potentially having to contribute to the buyer's closing cost when you sell your house. You're going to have to pay buyer's closing costs when you purchase the home. We're talking about taxes while you own the home, insurance, utilities. This varies greatly from market to market. And we talk about it all the time, about having a good network of people. It's vitally important to have a good realtor who actually knows what they're talking about and has your best interest in mind, because they're going to be the ones that can tell you what you need to expect in your market. For example, I'm going to talk about my market because it's what I know. Here, this is a military town. Huge percentage of the loans that get closed are VA loans. That's what people are using to purchase their properties. It's a zero money down loan. So with that said, not having to bring anything to the table for that, a lot of these buyers, they don't want to bring any money to the table at all. Here in my market, it's expected that the seller is going to pay all of the buyer's closing costs. That's pretty significant, let's just call it 3%. The other thing is, for sell by owner, my market's not strong enough where you can just put for sell by owner signs up and just get people calling and selling properties. And here, it's 3% to a listing agent, it's 3% to the buyer's agent. So just those numbers alone, that's 9% of your ARV. Whatever you're planning to sell that home for, 9% you can account for being gone immediately as part of your quiet carrying cost. And then, like I said, those other things, insurance, taxes, utilities, the cost of your money. You need to account for them though, based off the size of the reno. You need to account for, 6 months, we're gonna be doing a 6-month reno and then listing it for a month or two. You need to, for those type of costs, maybe assume you have 7 months of cost. On the other hand, if it's an easy renovation, you're gonna be in and out in 2 weeks, think you're gonna have it listed, have it under contract pretty quick, obviously those costs are gonna be much less. But with all that said, a lot of times, just a general rule of thumb, if I'm using my own cash to purchase a home here, I can pretty much account for 10% off of the ARV as my quiet cost. But you better account for it, because you do not want to end up with $10,000, $12,000, $13,000 in expenses that you did not plan for when you made that initial offer. So this is so important. And again, markets are different. Hot seller markets, you're going to get laughed at if a buyer tries to request a seller to pay all their closing costs. So that's going to save you money. A lot of times if the market's really hot, you can put a for sale by owner sign. You can advertise for sale by owner online and get potential buyers that way to save on realtor costs. But again, you need to know what that is. You need to talk to your realtor. You need to understand what you need to expect, and you need to budget for that when making an offer. This is where I think I see the most people surprised on how much it costs to sell a property. It is not cheap to buy and sell real estate. With that said, just always keep it in the back of your mind. Keep track from house to house as you progress. See what you're spending on average and come up with a formula that works best for you, so that when you come to this portion of making an offer, you can come up with an accurate figure that's going to be a good representation of what you're going to spend when buying and selling a property.